When we first began in the school, there was really no whole school approach to anything. So people operated well in their classrooms, but what the classroom here was doing and the one next door was doing was very different. So we wanted to build a whole school language of learning and a whole school model of pedagogy. In order to assess, you have to know what it is you're going to assess, and kids often didn't know what it was they even had to do, necessarily. So we began with the success criteria because feedback must be hung upon that. So that's where we started.
In 2013, Lorraine Bradwell brought to us John Hattie's research, as well as people like Helen Timperley, Carol Dweck and Dylan William. And that's really driven the direction our school has taken.
Well, we'll have a look at books that we think we're going to get some information out of. We share it in our exec meetings, we pick up pieces, we talk about it, and then we try and embed those best practices and ideas that are going to suit the context of our school into our professional development.
And then as executives, we'll go to our stage meetings and we will share what we've trialled in our own classes. I think it's not a case of we say, right, you need to start trial informative assessment. We show them what it looks like through our own practice. These pencils are going to tell me what? When you put these pencils in the tin, what information is that going to tell me? Loki?
How confident you are on doing it.
How confident you feel on doing it. So it's giving who feedback? Who is that giving feedback to, Ethan?
It's giving feedback to you.
Right, it's letting me, the teacher, know how confident you are feeling with this. The benefit of using the cups in the day-to-day lesson is it gives me feedback on who needs help and when they need help, and it also allows me to act on that immediately. So that when they need help, I can go straight to them with a yellow or a red cup, and it also then shows them that I'm there for them at the time of need. So Emily, I can see you've got a yellow cup. What is it that you need to check in with me about?
I don't quite know which numbers to put in.
Which question are you on?
I'm doing the first one, 76 plus 23.
So people had to come along to the staff meeting. They had to bring a feedback strategy that they'd used in the last 2 weeks with their class. They had to talk about, is it task, process or self-regulated? And then they had to talk about how they might move that to another level. As they tried it out, they could see the impact for students in the classroom, and the students actually were our greatest enablers.
And they're constantly seeking feedback on a whole range of tasks.
Well, the thing that I liked is in the past we've had pre-tests, but we didn't do a lot with it. Now we get the pre-test and we analyse it a bit closer and we look at what the kids' needs are, and that drives what we're going to teach. So we're not teaching them things they already know. We pick out the needs that they have and we teach that.
One thing that has really been extended with this whole learning process has been peer feedback. Now students are able to get so much out of it because they're not just looking at whether they got something right or wrong, they're now being able to look at where they went wrong in the process if they weren't getting it right, and the students can give each other feedback based on that success criteria.
And it took a lot of work to teach them how to be, I guess, a teacher to their friend and be looking for things in someone's work that's going to help them move along.
For your writing, it was really good. You had definitely had a why question in your title, and it did explain how something occurs. Your introduction, it was really good, but maybe you could add a little bit more information and background, like descriptions.
With my Year 6s, I found that sentence structure was a really high area need. Students had limited use of complex sentences and found it difficult to build informative sequences. So what about you, Ben?
In terms of, I had 13 out of 16 of my students get D or below in sentence structure. It was the same things.
Once we've analysed that data, we identify stage targets, and this is what drives our where to next. So once we've got that where to next, we know what we need to go back and explicitly teach in the classroom. We also meet again for another data day where we bring all those samples back. We have that consistent teacher judgment just to make sure still we're on that same page. What's your A's, B's, C's? And those target students that we identified that we were going to track for growth, we check in to see if they've made that growth. If you're going through this piece of work, right, you're going through your partner's piece of work and you're thinking, oh, I'm not really sure if that's a good one, or I'm not sure if that's what it looks like, where could you go? What could you look at to show you maybe an example of that? Sophie?
You could go and look at a waggle.
Okay, so you could go and look at a waggle. What is a waggle?
A waggle is what a good one looks like.
So what a good one looks like.
All right, now you should all have your post-it note on your table. Could you please put a line down the middle? Good job. And then we're going to go across to turn our post-it note into quarters. In the top corner, what will that be for, Ryan?
Capital letters.
Capital letters, good job. In the next box, what will that be for, please, Nate?
Full stop.
Full stops, good job. You've got that he has a capital.
Full stop. It hasn't not yet because it's floating.
Oh, it's floating a little bit in the air.
When you receive feedback, your peer will ask you if you understand where you're going to put your feedback, and if you understand, that means that you can show them where. And if you've got like a red card or you don't understand, then you have to go back and look at a waggle, so then you can understand where. Looking at a waggle helps because then you can see what your teacher is looking for and how to bump up your work.
One way that I use exit slips in the classroom is to use post-it notes. So at the end of a session or the end of an hour of learning, I will ask the students a question, or I'll ask them to do a piece of work that matches the criteria we're working towards. They will then independently complete the exit slip by answering the question, which may be something like writing a sentence if that's what we've been working on, or completing a problem in maths. They then go and place the exit slip on the wall. At the end of the day, I have a look at the exit slips and I see whether or not they can achieve that criteria. If they have achieved it, I write an A on the exit slip, representing achieved. If they haven't, I write an NY, representing not yet. And then when they come in from their previous learning, they go to the wall to see how they're going with their learning. So it's a tool that shows me exactly what I need to do for the next lesson, and also shows them where they are in their learning journey. Now, you had a go at drafting an informative paragraph. I then gave you feedback by using the success criteria. If you showed me that you actually achieved something in that criteria, I highlighted it in green for you. If you were on the way but not quite there yet, I highlighted the criteria in orange, and if I didn't see it at all, I highlighted it in pink. After that, I gave you some feedback. You then went away and took that and decided, well, based on what I've told you, what is the one thing you're going to focus on in your second draft?
So do we need to change this 80 to 70?
Yeah.
And then what will you continue to move up by then?
Tens.
Tens, yeah. So 70.
80.
Yep. Okay, can you mark 76 on there now?
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else you need to check in with me about? So is your cup going to stay on yellow, or can you change it over?
I can change it.
Great.
I like getting feedback because it helps me improve and I have to act on it. Example with the artworks. My peer, Ava, helped me with giving me feedback about telling me to make the eyes a bit bigger and the nose a bit bigger.
If I went to a school without feedback, I would find it extremely empty because I would never know what I needed to work on or whether to keep doing stuff or not. And I probably wouldn't learn much because I wouldn't know what to improve on.
So I don't know how I would plan any cycles now without feedback. Everything's designed exactly for what my students' needs are. And so the learning is just so much more meaningful for them
and for us.
Yeah.
After teaching for 30 years, I'm growing in my teaching and I've got a bit more of a zing in it too. I really am enjoying doing this and I find it so meaningful.